everybody, it's Christy back with another video, and yeah, you're looking at a pile of paint. So I have decided, with viewer request, that I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do a series on my metallic watercolor palettes. So yes, what you are looking at right now is a stack of most of my metallic watercolors. I genuinely am not sure this is all of them. I think I know for a fact I'm missing at least one dot card that has watercolors that are metallic that I like. I'm not sure if I'm missing more than that, but right now this is what I could find for the opening of this video. And so I just want to talk about what watercolors I know for a fact will be featured in this upcoming series, so that you can get excited. And if I'm missing something, I don't know how I would be missing something, but if I'm missing something here, you can let me know in the comments so that I can grab it for you. So let's start with just going through quickly what I have so that you can know what I'm planning on reviewing. We'll start with my Yuli watercolors. I have several sets of Yuli here. So we're going to review. I have this mini mic palette. I know she doesn't make these anymore, but the paint colors, I believe, are still relevant to what is on her site. I will do some homework before that. They are not going to be in today's video, but I'm going to review these. And I have this. I have a vintage series dot card. I have a holographic dot card that I know is missing, but I know I have. These are shapeshifter paints that I bought. I think they were gifted to me. And then I also have the Disney Princess collection, because why not? Why would I not have the Disney Princess mini set? Hold on. Didn't show you the actual tiny little paint pans here. They're cute. Oh, and there's a holo in there too that's Yuli. So these are all Yuli's and some of the Yuli freebies that she's sent me over the years. Jeannie is amazing. So I will go through all of that. I have done a review of Yuli before, but I'm going to do it with this kind of worksheet in mind, with a little bit more direction to kind of give you a comparison between this and other brands. Another handmade brand I'm going to look at is KMS watercolors. These are just some of her watercolors. I know I have her metallic dot card as well. Again, that's one of the ones I can't find, but there are some in here that are metallic, so I just pulled it out. So Caitlin from KMS is amazing as well. Really love her stuff. Scrim is another small brand watercolor that I'm going to look at. I have a set of their paints. This is actually glow-in-the-dark paint. It's kind of cool. And then Upcrate sent me some of their paints as well. So these are all metallic. So I will test all of these metallics in this testing. We've got, I think this is Stone Ground. Yeah, this is Stone Ground paint. So this is that company. I have 6 of their watercolors. I got one of them in a subscription box years ago, this Hudson Bay Blue, and I really liked it. So I went ahead and I bought some more colors with the intention of potentially filling this up. Though I don't know why, because look around, kids. Look around it. This is too many watercolors, period. And this is just metallics. Yeah, it's just metallics. So I may have a problem. But it's all for you. It's all for you. Okay. These are ones that I bought on Temu recently. I have yet to, they will be later in the series, because I'm going to try to do things that I have done artwork with. So I know I've played with these, but I want to play with them some more. These were the Ocean Glittery watercolors, and these ones were called Shimmer Solid Candy watercolors. They're like super bright. I don't even know if this is the same brand or not. I bought them at the same time on Temu, but I am going to do some artwork with them as well, and they will be some of the later on watercolors that I test. I've got these 3 little Jackson's shimmer pots that I got from Scrawlrbox, and they were a lot of fun to work with, so I'm going to throw them in there, with the full disclosure that I only have 3 of them, and I don't think I'm going to buy more of them, because again, look around. But if I don't know, I might, if someone's really interested in these, let me know. I do like them, and I would be interested in testing a bigger sample size than just these 3, but also I'm overloaded. So I'm going to throw them in the test. I've got the Derwent metallic set, which is a standard classic metallic set that we all really like. I mean, I really like it. I don't dislike any of these paints. I should preface that. Nothing I'm testing here. I'm testing to say it's a bad product. These are just, they're all different and they will serve different purposes. So I'm just going to give you guys the nitty gritty on what I think and how they swatch, and depending on what you're going to use them for, which ones might be the best fit for your budget. So these are upcoming. They are probably going to be second or third because I've used them quite a bit. We've got the CSY Art Gallery. I just got these. I just did these in an Amazon art haul, and this is what we have there. Now, the Amazon art haul, if you watched it, only had 12 paints in here. I did go back and buy another pen set for like $7 or $8. These are on Amazon. They're pretty affordable. And it included these 2 greens and everything that's in the middle row, because I wanted a true silver and like some golds, like a gold and a bronze. I wanted that. So I bought a set that had those neutrals plus some greens, which was kind of what this palette was missing. So this feels like a more well-rounded palette. But this is CSY Art Gallery, and they are based in Germany, handmade watercolors. I've got the Viviva metallic watercolor sheet. Obviously, these ones are also well loved because I have used them quite a bit. So we will talk about those. And then last, and I don't know if it's least, these are the ones I'm going to talk about today, are the Paul Rubens watercolor set. And my set is, I believe, the 24 set. Yes, I have the 24 set. And again, you can see these are probably my most used metallic paints just because I've had them. They might be my oldest set, I'm not sure, but I'm going to talk about these today as a starting jumping off point for this series. So when I'm testing, what does that mean? What's it going to look like? Well, I'm going to swatch so that you can look at the swatches on both black paper and white paper. And I'm going to do it on papers that I am comfortable with, that are affordable, maybe not available, but this is very similar to several other papers. So I have this old B watercolor paper. It is loose leaf, which is why I'm using it, because I can cut it to size. If you have used this paper before, I think it's very comparable to any standard 100% cotton watercolor paper. The Bao Academy paper is very similar to this. I was going to use that, but it's on a block and I don't want to waste paper and I don't want to rip paper just because of what I'm going to do with it. So this was better for me because I can cut it down. I have a ton of it, so I know that I won't run out with testing all of these supplies. So this is what I am going to use. And I know how it behaves, so it will give me a better ability to test. Then I've got Strathmore Black Mixed Media paper, outside of Legion Aqua Cold Press watercolor black paper, which is probably like the Cadillac if you're going to do a metallic watercolor piece. This stuff is amazing. I use it all the time, and it is a really nice paper to use for gouache and for glitter or metallic watercolors. Why can't I talk today, kids? All right, so this is what I'm going to use to swatch with the black. Again, it is in a booklet and I can cut it down to size. I am probably going to cut these both in half, and then I'm going to just attach them here. I'm not going to make them fit in this swatches space. I'm just going to attach them here so that I have all of this information together. So here is the testing sheet that I came up with. We're going to put the product name. We're going to put the swatches. We are going to talk about how many colors in the range in total. We're going to talk about pricing. We're going to talk about if there is available pigment information, if they are handmade, if it's a separate palette. Those aren't necessarily things that are going to win at points or not. It's just something that you might want to know if you are looking for watercolors to purchase. I'm going to talk about US availability, and I'm sorry for those of you that aren't in the United States. That's what I can speak to. Of course, a quick Google search for you should tell you if things are available in your area. And I'm testing enough products that I think something here should be available for almost everybody. Almost everybody, at least in North America and Europe, I think you would be covered. I can't speak beyond that. And maybe in the comments below, somebody can let me know. I do think Paul Rubens are pretty available in Asia, but I'm not sure. So I know that some of these companies are in Europe. So I know that they are available in Europe as well and in Canada. But that would be something in the comments below to let me know if there's something that you want me to get my hands on to test for other markets. Please, please let me know. Color versus shimmer notes. This just means that when I lay it down, am I actually seeing pigment or am I just seeing the mica powder? That is something that can be a detriment to a watercolor set if you are trying to get a color and you end up with just laid down mica powder. It looks different after it dries to the point where it isn't what you wanted it to be. So I'm making an area for that. Specialty metallic options I included on here because I just want to give that as a possibility for versatility and in terms of price, right? So do you have color shifting options in the set or are they available? Those are going to be a little bit more pricey. Same thing with holographic. Is there some other specialty thing going on? Like Scrim has that glow in the dark paint, which is cool. Not necessarily in their palette, but in their range. I would consider that to be something neat. And then a spot for notes. Then we're going to give it a final score. Now, this final score isn't to say like, hey, this paint is obviously better than all the other paints, because something that's got a really high price tag is probably going to perform poorly in the price category. That doesn't mean it's not better than something else. It just depends on what you want. So I'm going to give final scores mainly so that we can compare things that feel similar at the end of all of this. So my goal is going to be, we're going to do one at a time. Today, we are going to talk about the metallic Paul Rubens set because it's been out there for a while and I am comfortable talking about it. And slowly over the next couple of months, I'm going to test the rest of these and kind of give you my ideas. And then you can kind of at the end, we'll have a whole book of these and we'll go through them and we'll say, you know, who's the best for your money? Which ones surprised me? Which ones didn't hold up, even though I really like them. So that's kind of the idea. I hope that you think this is worthwhile and stick around. We're going to talk about this Paul Rubens set next. All right, so I'm back to discuss the testing and everything that we did here for the Paul Rubens metallics. So first of all, that's how I'm gonna connect the swatches to this card. So I will glue tape down this one on this side, and then I'm going to use washi tape just to connect this one so that it can flip up and down so that both of them are connected to the testing sheet. So let's look at each one individually. Here is the black watercolor test, and let me talk a little bit about what we did down here. This is just me playing with some florals and flow while I am in the middle of painting a floral. This is just a little bit of a jellyfish. Now, I do a lot of jellyfishes and metallics. They look a lot nicer than this. The point of this was just to play with it so that you can kind of see how we get different colors. Can we get differentiated colors in the same kind of wet on wet design? And we can. You can see that there is both a purple and a blue in there. This was a flow test. Now, I knew on the mixed media paper, the flow test wasn't necessarily going to be as good as it might be on watercolor paper, which this one is watercolor paper, so we'll compare. But the flow test here, I just put a big stripe of water, and then I dropped 3 colors that if they mixed would give us like almost a primary palette. And obviously on the mixed media paper, there wasn't a ton of flow. And in general, metallic watercolors don't have a lot of flow, but the flow is not just about wet on wet. It's also about how well you can actually paint something with them. So I think here you've got pretty consistent flow. There's not too many spots where you didn't have pigmentation if you just dropped one swipe of paint. So that's not too bad for metallic watercolors. I think that passes the test. On the watercolor paper, it did even better. So the flow testing here, you can see that they did start to spread out. And if I had worked a little harder at it, I could have gotten some mixes, but that wasn't the point of the test. And then here I've got another little jellyfish, and you can see he's got 2 different colors working there. And for these flow tests, we definitely had better, more consistent coverage. That would be expected on watercolor paper. Then we've got the colors here. So one important thing that I like to look at when I'm comparing metallic watercolor sets is how they perform both on black and white paper. And I really think that Paul Rubens is one of the gold standards for this process, especially because it's as good as I want to say like a Daniel Smith in their performance, maybe not in pigment or quality. We'll talk about that in a minute. But in performance sake, you definitely have this really awesome thing where if it's on black paper, it's still going to have all the colors. You can still see all those colors. And you can see them on white paper. That is not true of every metallic watercolor set. It's why I reach for this one all of the time. But you do get different qualities depending on whether you swatch it on white or black paper. There are a couple that on the black paper, the glitter ones especially, 1, 2, 3, have less pigmentation than they do on the white paper. But on the white paper, they have a ton of pigmentation. All 3 of them have substantial pigmentation, which means that it's just a matter of whether you have it on black or white paper. It's not a pigmentation issue because glitter watercolors are going to should show up on white paper better than black paper. Pearlescence should give you more of a shine on black paper, but they did really well on this white paper also. Another couple things I'd like to note before we get really into the sheet is that this set does come with some duochrome colors. So you've got a couple duochromes, like this guy is a duochrome. If I do that, you could see it. We have this one over here, which is a duochrome, and it really highlights it from the black paper to the white paper that you can see that. So you've got a couple different colors in here I would call duochromes, which is really cool. And they're shapeshifters. So if that is something that you want to dabble with, you get it within this palette. So anyway, those are the swatches. I think they're really boss. Let's talk about pricing. Let's talk about everything else. Okay, I'll just move these for the time being. So number of colors. I have the 24, but there are 48 in the range. They do provide pigment information. They do come in a separate palette. They're not handmade, but that's okay. Again, just for your information purposes. US pricing. I can get these for $50, the set that I currently have. I think that's about what I paid for it. That price has come to, actually, I think that I got that price on sale a while ago. That price has definitely come down. $88 for 48 is a pretty good deal, I would say, for nice quality metallic watercolors. And then it's $38 for the 12 set. So for my money, I would say go for the 24 set if you can afford it, or ask for it as a gift, because for 50 bucks, that is a good deal. You're getting about 50 cents a pan, which is better than this $38 for 12. You're paying a whole lot more that way. I'm sorry, you're paying $2 a pan. Math teacher here, come on, other way. $2 a pan. Here you're paying over $3 a pan. All right, Amazon Prime shipping, it's very available in the US. Again, the color versus shimmer notes, you can see the pigments and the shine. It's excellent. I think that this is kind of why I wanted to start with the Paul Rubens set, because I know that it gives what it would give on the tests, because I've used it so much. A couple other notes. You do need to re-wet these often. I don't know if you noticed while I was swatching, but I keep a spray bottle here and I sprayed them several times. That is generally true of metallic watercolors, but these specifically seem to really need re-wet a lot. Some colors more than others. Whenever I use metallic watercolors, I do take the time to make sure that if I have a pan where things look a little more separated, like this one sometimes does that I take a second and I make sure it's nice and mixed up before I swatch or use it. Okay, color shifting in the sets. Yes, you've got two. There's no holographics in the line to my knowledge, unless they are in the 48 set, but I didn't see any when I looked. Then they've got the guacai specialty sets now that look like the Kuretake Gansai Tambi pans, and they are different. I don't know about them. I cannot speak to them in this video. They come in sets of 36. There's a glitter set and a pearlescent set, and so that range would be a little bit bigger if there aren't overlaps. But I haven't played with those. I can't speak to those. If you want me to pick up a set of them, let me know in the comments, and I will do it for you guys. I will do it for you guys. I might let go of it after the fact. All right, so the final score for these, I went ahead and I tabulated it, and then I covered it because I wanted it to be a surprise, but we're kind of going to go from the top down. Shine, 5 out of 5. These have incredible, I mean, just like, look at that. Look at that. They are absolutely shimmery, which is what you want in metallics. Versatility, 5 out of 5. Again, I just think that you can mix with these. You can use them on white paper, on black paper. You can use them basically on mixed media or watercolor paper. They just work so beautifully. I reach for them a lot. So to me, that makes them very versatile paints. Color variety, 5 out of 5. I have 24. I don't need 24. Really, some of these colors are repetitive considering I could mix them, but for convenience sake, I don't mind it. I don't even know in the 48 set how you get 24 more colors out of this. I really don't, because I feel like I have maybe some more silvers and golds. There aren't. That is one maybe drawback to the set. If you're really looking for your silver, gold, copper range, because you're really doing just accents and those are the colors you want, this paint set doesn't necessarily thrive on that. If you're looking for colors, this paint thrives on that. So color variety, 5 out of 5 might not be important to you. I gave flow a 4 out of 5. I still think it flowed pretty well, but again, if you look at here, there was definitely some loss of color and pigmentation when I just went in for the flow test, and these didn't move. This one moved a little bit, but these didn't move hardly at all. So I'm going to say they moved a little bit more here, but they don't flow as well as some other paint sets I have. So I'm going to give them a 4 out of 5 there. Ooh, this is ripping the paper. So we're going to take it off. Price, 3 out of 5. They are good, but they're not the best priced thing on my list, but the pricing is decently affordable. There are more affordable options that we are going to go over. So I need to at least account for that. $50 isn't a small amount of money for a watercolor set. Pigmentation, 5 out of 5. I talked about it enough already. So my total here for them is 27 out of 30. I know that's a high score out the gate. Now, I expected it to be a high score out the gate because these are paints that I really do like using, and there's a reason that they have been used as much as they have been. It's not like I bought them 4 years ago, and they just sit around. They are the ones I reach for when I do Christmas cards. I love these paints. When I want to paint jellyfish, I love these paints. Now I usually will mix those with a little bit of gouache. They work well with that. So this is just a really solid set to start with. If you haven't thought about this set before, I would definitely consider it. It does go on sale from time to time on Amazon, so look for that. So I think that covers everything here. I'm going to ask you guys for a couple of calls to action in the comments below. Number one, is there something else you want me to talk about on this sheet? Tell me now before I get too far into testing, because if there's something else that you want me to mention, I will make a note of it and it will be in future videos. Second, is there another watercolor brand that you want me to talk about? So is there one that I didn't show earlier today that you are like, hey, Christy, I really need to know about this? Let me know in the comments below. And lastly, is there something that you want to add to the conversation about the Paul Rubens metallics? If there is, please put it in the comments below and I will try to highlight as much information as I can gather from other people as well in pinned comments. And that's going to be it for me today. I hope that this gave you a nice start to our metallic watercolor testing series, and we will see you guys in the next video. Bye for now.